we're back on another crosskart video. I did get some parts for it. I got my wilwood master cylinders for my pedals. I already put one of them in there, so we got 2 more to put on. I don't know how much we're gonna have to do because I did buy a slave cylinder for my clutch, but the one I got was too big to fit in there. So we're not going to be able to do that today. So we're going to start with this and see where we can go from there. I don't have any of the lines to hook this up either, so we're just going to get kind of a look to see where everything sits in there and if my steering rack's going to fit. I've also been lazy, so I haven't moved that other control arm yet. So can't really put the steering in there yet, but we can kind of gauge where it's going to sit and see if we have enough room now with the control arms where they are. If we don't, I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll have to figure it out. This is what our master cylinders look like. The pedal box I got, these screw straight into some brackets there on the pedals. You can adjust them how far the pedals sit forward or backwards, kind of make things easier for you. Already comes with fittings to put on your hydraulic hoses to get everything in there. I have 2 for my brake pedal, 1 for my clutch. That's why I'm getting the slave cylinder for the clutch, so that we can make everything hydraulic there. I mean, if all goes wrong, we could do a wire driven clutch like what's on it anyways. But this will just be a lot nicer in my opinion. Really got a lot more expensive than it would have been just doing a cable, but I want this thing to be nice. Maybe after we're done with this one, if we ever finish this one. I want to, but if we ever finish this one, we make a version 2 after I sell this one, maybe get a little money recuperated, make a version 2 with really nice air shocks and stuff, and then maybe a 1000cc motor. But like I said, we have to finish this one first, so that's what we're trying to do. I was really hoping on getting a lot further, but some of the parts I ordered weren't right and didn't fit, which, I mean, you can't order specific parts for it just because of what it is. The frame's completely custom. The only thing that isn't custom is the engine. So I mean, and it's an older bike. It's a 2008 engine, so can't really have hydraulic stuff for that anyways. But yeah, let's dive into it. Well, I knew I was going to be redoing my throttle cable mount here. I didn't know it was going to be this soon, but it has to be done before I could put this in, because this has to slide on right there, and it won't slide past right there. So now maybe it's time to start thinking about how I want to mount my throttle cable, just because of the way it is right now. It isn't really practical. It's made out of different types of piping, just welded together, seeing how I wanted it to be. But these 2 are put in there. They work how they should. This one retracts all the way out to where it should be. I think this one will once I have this second one out here and there's fluid in it too, making pressure. But right here is where they're all gonna sit. This throttle cable's forward further just because it's not tight. So when it is tight, it'll be sitting where it needs to sit, I hope, anyways. But now I'm gonna sit around and think about how I want to mount that throttle cable for good. Well, after trying the plasma cutter like 18 times and then resulting to a grinder and having to switch out 5 batteries because they kept dying on me, we got our 3 pieces done that I'm gonna make my throttle cable holder out of. These are gonna be welded together in kind of like a square, but one side's gonna be missing so the throttle cable can stick out of it. I still have to cut the piece that's gonna go on the top of these, but we're looking pretty good right now. I'm gonna get these cleaned up on the bench grinder, and then we'll get them welded together here, tacked together here, just in case I have to change them. So we're gonna get them tacked together, get it put in there. We'll have to take out that old brace, but that's not a big deal because I just tacked that. And then hopefully this will work better for our throttle cable, and our master cylinder for the rear brakes will clear it. Alright, now I'm going to show you why I only tacked this together. I'm getting smarter with building this thing. That is going to be inside of there, and obviously it doesn't fit. So, now I'm going to have to cut this apart, which there's only a couple tacks in there. I'll have to cut this apart and make a new top piece as well. I think I'm going to make it 2 inches wide, and that'll probably help with our clearance here, and it shouldn't get in the way of the master cylinder. But always check before you start welding stuff, because I should have measured that side to side, but it went completely over my head and I didn't realize that it needed to go in there. So I'm going to cut out that little 2-inch piece and weld it in real quick, and hopefully that's enough, because the 1 inch almost fits, but with that extra inch we'll have a little bit of wiggle room to play with. I got this new piece set up and tacked. I test fit it in there and it does fit. So now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have to line this up, find where I need to drill a hole, and then cut a little slit down so I can slide the throttle cable into there. I think I'm gonna try to offset it to the side a little bit, because if I do want to put that throttle cable that returns and will pull the pedal back, it's gonna have to go through somewhere in here, and I need to make sure that it's not gonna interfere with that other throttle cable moving up and down to get this thing to drive. So we're gonna get it put over as far as possible without touching this edge over here, and we'll get it tacked in there and see what it looks like. As you saw, throttle cable has been installed. Fits in there as it should. Nothing touches over here. It does get pretty close, but it does bottom out under here where this piece is. But the good thing is when it bottoms out, it does have full range of motion and pulls the throttle cable to full throttle. So we're all good there. I think that's gonna work. I'm gonna order a longer throttle cable for the other one and cut it down to see if we can get it to fit. If not, don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal, because we do have a spring on the gas pedal itself, so I don't think anything will get stuck. And if it does, like I said, we'll have kill switch up here sitting right on this little post right here. Now we can fit the other master cylinder in there, so we'll get that on there, and then I'll probably get into this thing, kind of see where the pedals sit, how they feel. Everything does look a little close, and with where I mounted everything, I think I'm going to leave the pedals here. But if you look right here, there's a decent amount of room behind the seat. So if it is a little too close and uncomfortable, I think we can move that seat back a couple of inches and then just put a heat shield there, since the exhaust does run right there. That's the main thing I wanted to get done today, because like I said in the beginning of the video, I can't really do anything else because I was really lazy and didn't move that other control arm. So we'll get that master cylinder on, do kind of like a test fit in there, sit in it, and see what it's like. Everything is hooked up and mounted. Now it's time to squeeze into this thing. There is going to be a floor in here, so there will be a place for my feet to sit. But yeah, it's looking a little close, or feeling a little close. So that's definitely probably going to have to be moved. Not that big of a deal though. So I'm gonna have to adjust my brake pedal, but this is all for we're kind of in the prototype stage right now. So, yeah, if those were back like a couple inches, that'd be real nice. So, I'm probably gonna have to move the beams that are under my seat. Not that big of a deal, but it's starting to feel like a cross cart. I am going to try to get this other control arm moved sometime this week, maybe after I finish my editing on Monday and Tuesday. Maybe I'll come home after work one day, pull this thing out, and just get that knocked out so that way we can get our steering in, and then hey, who knows, maybe when our steering is in, we might be able to slide the pedals. And if we can slide the pedals and move the seat, that's a big plus for everything. So that is going to be it for this video, you guys. So if you did enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up, drop a comment on what you think about this thing. I'd like to get some feedback from you guys. Maybe you know something I don't. Maybe we can get something figured out with everybody's help. And if you enjoyed this video and want to follow along, hit that subscribe button as well. And we will see you guys in the next video.